As we all know, everything is offensive. If you say one thing, then someone out there will get angry and then a vocal minority will come after you and demand that you're cancelled. You really can be labelled as the worst person to ever live just for asking a question or having an opinion. Say, for example, you have any questions about the Black Lives Matter movement. Well, you're automatically a racist. If you play Hogwarts Legacy, then you're automatically a transphobe. If you state facts about the wage gap, then guess what? You're a sexist. But I don't really care what offends inner city teenage girls and white dudes who wear fedoras with very skinny arms. I'm not saying you have to have big arms to be a man. I'm just saying people with very skinny arms usually have very shit opinions. I want to know in this video what actually offends transgender people. I've been accused of being a transphobe for a long time. I want to know if what offends one trans person would actually offend me. And I think I found the best way to do that. I found a trans YouTuber who has made a series of videos talking about how they are offended by particular TikTok videos that are in his opinion transphobic. This isn't an attack. I've got no hate for this person at all. I'm just genuinely interested. Let's have a look.
Check it out. Hey buds, how's it going? Welcome back to another video, first video. I don't know, but welcome back either way. I hope you're gonna enjoy it.
Okay, so this is Jamie, and Jamie is a trans man. Born a female, now lives as a man. Good on him. I actually didn't mean to do that. Over the past 10 years, Jamie has obviously changed very, very much and now is living as a man, looks like a man, and good on him. I hope he's very, very happy. He's had the top surgery, have the boobs removed, and he's had the bottom surgery, have the penis made. Now, I've heard the bottom surgery is very full on. Even if you are trans, I don't recommend it. Apparently, it's very, very tough, particularly when you remove a penis. Just live your life, be happy. But whatever. If you're an adult, go for it. Jamie makes content for LGBTQIA+ people, mainly trans people, and people love him. Awesome. He does have some interesting videos though. Like, the cis straights are at it again.
The cis hats, how they doing? They good? Not in this video, they're not.
He basically looks at straight people doing weird shit, sort of like what I'm doing here, except he is allowed to do it and I'm not. That's not very fair. I imagine it doesn't mean that Jamie hates straight people, and yet apparently I hate trans people. But maybe he hates straight people. I don't know. Who cares? The rest of his content, as I scroll through, is reacting to basically transphobic content. So he goes on there, he gets upset, people in the comments get upset, and the cycle continues. So the news report is explaining Biden wants to allow biological men to compete against biological women when those biological men become trans women. So some blokes here, they've grabbed some wigs and they're pretending to be men who want to compete against women, so they're just gonna put a wig on and that's the joke, right? They wanna get a win and they're gonna do so by pretending to be women and competing against women.
This is awful.
Now, this doesn't happen as far as dudes going, hey, I want to win, so I'm going to become a woman, but it does happen in the trans community. Some men become women and then go on to destroy the competition of natural born women. Take Leah Thomas, for example, right? Who, by the way, one of her teammates came out and said that they were exposed to male genitalia in the changing room, which is interesting indeed. Probably not what you want to see after a big race is a big cock and balls.
Why would you do that? He's like, oh yeah, trans women are going to be allowed to compete in women's sports. Yeah, let's just take the piss out of them and also add fuel to the fire.
So obviously Jamie has made up his mind that this is transphobic and there's no other way to think about it. Not even gonna give it a chance as a little bit of a joke, not a slight giggle, not a slight smile. Like, it's a little bit giggly and smiley, isn't it, Jamie? Isn't it just a tiny bit funny that this is what these silly dudes are doing? They're being silly. Wouldn't it be easier to just giggle at it and move on with your life? Or do you have to make an entire video about how the fact that someone putting a wig on made you upset?
Of the whole falseness that like cis men are just going to pretend to be women to then win sports. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, it doesn't happen in as far as it's not the only reason that people transition, but some people transition and they benefit from that in the sport that they choose to compete in. And it's completely unfair to the females in that competition. That is the whole point here, mate.
Oh. I think I just get really confused by people who are transphobic. I don't know why that would elicit that kind of response.
This video has 800,000 views and all the guy is doing is sitting there going, oh my God, I forgot to laugh. Content? What amazing content. All you're doing is sitting there being silent, watching a TikTok that is also silent. Okay, let's watch the TikTok. Okay, so there's a child actor who was a boy, now they're a girl, and then the girl having a look now freaks out. That's all. Don't you think, Jamie, that people would be quite shocked if people were to find out that one of their favourite childhood actors is no longer the gender that they were when they enjoyed them as a childhood actor, right? They would be quite shocked because they're confused. Obviously.
This one is just screenshots from a TikTok. Things I will never find attractive. Okay. If you use pronouns... Everybody uses pronouns, and there's a reason why the I and you are so...
There's nothing wrong with pronouns as long as you use them if your gender is ambiguous. There is no point me having in my bio he, him. It's obvious I've got a cock. It's the same as if some chick with big tits and you can see it, you just know with some people. But if it's ambiguous and you don't know, or you are trans, then fair enough. Use the pronouns. But if you're not trans and it's not ambiguous, then you are a virtue signaling fucking goose, all right? And shut up. How about that? Oh, and also, they, them, not a thing. Pick one and move on with your life.
Julia Hartley-Brewer accused of transphobia for saying men don't have periods.
Has a period, but also anyone who buys them. So
what do you mean anyone who has a period? So you mean women and girls?
So I just mean anyone who has uterus. Not all women.
Women and girls.
Periods.
Well, no, not all women. No, I mean, people who are postmenopausal, people, women under the menstrual age. So women and girls. We're not saying people who have periods on my show. We're saying women and girls.
Okay, well,
no, genuinely, I won't have you on the show if you're going to talk that nonsense.
She isn't wrong. Men do not have periods. Trans men do. And if you throw that trans at the start, then yeah, I'm with you. Trans men do, they can have periods. Nothing wrong with that. But don't try and change science just to make yourself feel better. Men can't have periods. Trans men can. Yeah.
Men don't have periods, full stop. Women and girls.
Okay, well, I think that's quite transphobic, but...
You think that's quite transphobic? Do you know any men who have periods, Laura?
Let's not argue the science here, mate, because you'll lose, because periods don't come out of a penis.
You think men who don't have uteruses, you think men have periods, do you?
Yes, because some men have uteruses.
Some men have uteruses.
It's nice to say that they do, but they don't, do they? That's the thing here. It's all about being nice and polite. You use the pronouns. You say a man has a uterus. Whatever. Like, if you want to be nice about it. But when it comes down to the science of the situation and the reality of the situation, they definitely don't. Why have a uterus if you have a penis? There's no point, because trying to push a baby out of your cock would be the worst thing to ever happen to anyone that's ever lived. Right?
How do those men have uteruses if they're not born women?
As a trans man and as a man who has experienced periods, that was hilarious to watch. To me, she just sounds really, really silly.
I imagine you had those periods before you had your female genitals removed. Am I correct in saying that? Or do you bleed out of your new penis? Because if you do, that's probably something you should get looked at. Okay?
I think the person who called in did a very good job there. Standing your ground, yes, I know men who have periods. For some people, I think it's a case of acknowledging that this very rigid rule that some people have in their minds of like, this is what makes a man and this is what makes a woman, and this is how you're a man and this is how you're a woman, are no longer fully accepted and should not be accepted.
They should definitely be accepted. There are very stringent rules to what is a man and what is a woman, XY chromosomes, XX chromosomes, etc., etc. Now, as for trans people, that is a whole nother story. But it's another story, all right? It is the exception to the rule. It doesn't mean the rule must change. It also doesn't mean that men have periods or uteruses. Wake up to yourself.
Some may cancel me for this, but there are only two genders. I am sorry. Okay, why are there so many sparkles?
Fair point about the sparkles, mate. Fair point. Okay, let's ask Google how many genders there are. So there are 7 main genders. Oh, hang on. 68. No. There are no fixed number of gender identities. Wait. There's 72. Ladies and gentlemen, we have gone full retard.
Never go full retard.
Okay, there are, let's say there's 3. All right, there's men, there's women, and there's other. You don't need whatever. You don't need to have fucking infinite amounts of genders. Christ. Do something else with your life. Do something else. Get a hobby. Play hacky sack. Maybe with your old sack that you've cut off. Do anything.
Those sparkles look interesting. And why say it? You can have your belief, but like you are almost goading people into cancelling you.
Should you be cancelled though, Jamie? That's an interesting question. From me to you. Should you be cancelled for that? Should you lose your job, your income, maybe access to your kids if you're going through divorce courts or something like that, just because you're stating absolute scientific fact? Should you be cancelled for that?
First wave feminism, we want to be equal to men. Second wave, we don't need men. Third wave, we are men.
Come on, that is funny. Come on, Jamie.
Because all trans men just wanted male privilege. Let's just forget that the mental health among trans people is very poor. The discrimination rate is really high. The access to medical care is very difficult. Yeah, the amount of shit that trans people get, yes, but yeah, they just chose that.
I think it's just a funny meme, dude. Chill out. Fuck. Labeling someone transphobic, which means that they have a strong prejudice against transgender people, is not accurate when it comes to memes or jokes. I really don't think it is.
I might get some hate on this, but I don't care. So, I literally do not care if you are transgender. Like, in the slightest, this is America, do whatever you want. I make jokes about it because I think that they're funny, but honestly, if you want to identify as a cat, that's your business. It doesn't affect me, I don't care.
Right.
I personally believe that gender and sex are the same thing. There are 2 genders, male and female, and they are decided by your genetics. If I see you and you look like a female, I'm going to call you she. If you look like a guy, I'm going to call you he. If I walk into the bathroom and you look like a girl, I'm not going to know any different.
I'm not sure what Jamie's going to get mad about here. Maybe the MAGA hat. That's about it. So hopefully she's just cool with her. Like, there's nothing really going on here. Surely you could just be fine with this one, right?
If I walk in and there's a whole ass man standing in there saying that he identifies as a female, you might get pepper sprayed. In regards to my friends, I try to be respectful, like people I know, I try to be respectful without compromising my own beliefs. So what I will do is I'll call you by your preferred name, because people give nicknames all the time. That's not a...
Okay, that's still pretty fair, right? That seems relatively polite. As for the pepper spray, I mean, it depends on the situation, but everything else seems fair.
I'm not going against myself by calling you the name that you prefer. However, I will always refer to you by that name instead of by a pronoun.
I don't care if you're trans, it doesn't affect me. You do what you want to do. Oh, but here's my 1 minute long rant complaining about how trans people do affect my life.
No, she didn't. I think she was fine. She was pretty logical, really. She was quite nice about it, quite welcoming. I'll call you whatever you want, I'll be respectful, etc., etc. I think she's just saying she'll treat everyone normally, which... Come on, Jamie, isn't that what everyone wants anyway?
So basically, if she thinks someone is a trans woman and they're in the women's bathroom, she's going to pepper spray them? Even if they're just peeing or like washing their hand? I don't understand.
I think she means if someone was hiding in the female changing room, that she would use that, and they were hiding in there and they were going to attack her. Come on, mate. Come on. It did sound a bit dubious, but I don't think she means that any trans person using the bathroom she's going to attack.
Also, very, very like old school disproven science now to be like gender and sex are the same thing. They're not. Really, really they're not. But
you can say that sex and gender are completely different things, but for the longest time they were used interchangeably with each other. And now if you demand that people are so incorrect when they say there are 2 genders, then obviously this is why people are giving pushback to it, okay? You've changed the definition. You've changed the way that people understand the English language, and yet you get upset when people don't understand your new change. Forever and a day, people have either been born male or female, and now you want to change it. That's fine. Change it if it makes you happy, but don't rely on other people to completely get it right every time, and don't rely on them for your happiness, mate. Just live your own life. Not everyone's going to do everything you want them to do. And they have every right not to do that. It's the same with the whole, men can have periods. If you want to believe that, fucking go for it. But no one's going to follow you with that shit, mate. No one. And anyone who does is an idiot.
Okay, you believe what you want to believe. And then, so basically, she's saying if she has a trans friend, not that I can see why any trans person would be friends with her in the first place. I wouldn't be. If I was friends with somebody and found out they had those views on trans people, we're not friends anymore. Just because, like, I know you're not seeing me for who I am.
So you can't be friends with someone who has differing opinions to you. Welcome to your own echo chamber. What a shit place to be. It's actually a very far left and far right mindset, Jamie. They both have the same mindset. Have you ever thought about that?
I've seen this used as an argument by transphobic people before, where they're like, oh, it's not bad because I'm not misgendering you, I just am refusing to use pronouns for you. For me, whilst it is not as bad as if you were just blatantly misgendering and at least you have the common decency to use somebody's appropriate name, you are still really obviously othering them and treating them in a different way.
I agree with Jamie here. I think you should use someone's pronouns as a respectful way to show respect to them. I would do the exact same thing. Unless it's a they, them, not a thing.
But yeah, that is all the TikToks for today. Leave a comment down below on what you think. Send me more if there's any you want me to react to. I have some other ones.
Jamie has a lot of other videos and maybe we should check them out at a later date. In my honest opinion though, Jamie, I don't think the videos you showed were that bad. If it's those type of videos that are upsetting you, then you're gonna live your life pretty offended all the time. Like, where is the enjoyment there, mate? You're not going to be able to deal with modern society, well, any society really, if you're just constantly offended and worrying about, oh, I don't want to see this, I don't want to hear that. Man, you're going to hear shit. So what? If someone says something you don't like, so what? Fucking move on. Don't talk to that person. Don't be around that person. But don't go out and find things and hunt things down to show to your audience that is mainly trans people that's going to upset yous. What's the point of that? Anyway, Jamie, if you do see this video, I'd love to have a conversation with you. Maybe we could do a video on it. I think there's some very interesting questions that a lot of people have. If you don't want to, I wish you all the best. Ladies and gentlemen, be a good motherfucker. Peace in the Middle East. Me dick stinks. Toodle au revoir. Bye-bye.